Coming up on the Chris Myers interview, Shaun Alexander's legs carried him past NFL records and into the Super Bowl. Now the Seahawks running back joins Chris Myers to reveal the secret to Seattle's successful season.
It's the first time from top to bottom where everybody's like, we don't care about anything else but winning.
The NFL's most valuable player also discusses his relationship with Mike Holmgren, gives the odds that he'll stay in Seattle, and explains why some people don't buy into his nice guy image.
Some think that you're almost arrogant because of your quiet confidence.
I'm just content, you know what I mean? And sometimes people don't like people that are content.
Yeah,
why is he smiling all the time?
Find out why this free agent-to-be might be laughing all the way to the bank. Right now on CMI, the Chris Myers interview.
Thanks for joining us. Our guest, first Seahawk in history to win the MVP award, NFL record 28 touchdowns, which is really nothing when you think about 54 touchdowns in high school, right? Your senior year. Shaun Alexander, thanks for spending a moment with us.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations. How important, or what does the MVP mean to you?
You know, it's really, really an honor to be mentioned with all the other guys that have won it. But to me, it's like a mark of some of the accomplishments that you've done, you know, as a person, along with having your team accomplish lots of wins and having a great season. So, you know, so when somebody wins MVP, it means that your team is doing what it's supposed to be doing, and you've made some big plays along the way. So it's exciting.
And the rushing title along with that. We all know when you missed by a yard previously. How important was that when you compare it to the MVP award?
Well, you know, I think the rushing title, like, you know, and everybody doesn't know, but like that, you know, when everybody heard about the big uproar with me last year, it wasn't malicious at all. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of it's how I talk, you know.
Backstabbed was the word.
Yeah,
right?
I stabbed in the back. Well, like if you saw it on video, you'd have been like, oh, that's just the way Shaun talks. So, but like that whole thing with the rushing title, it was a team thing, you know what I mean? So they kind of heard my voice, but I was talking as a whole group that, yeah, you know, we wanted to take a shot at getting this thing. And that's how it was this year, you know. From the time I got into training camp, the guys were like, hey, we're trying to wrap everything up, you know, championships and dominating the division, yards, you know, let's get it all. And that's kind of how it was. So it was really, really a great accomplishment for us to get the rushing title, because my line, they wanted it more than ever before. And all I told them was I was going to train like no other to go get it, you know.
Whenever I ask defensive players about trying to tackle you, they always say deceptively fast. In a way that's a compliment, but aren't they also saying you don't look fast?
Yeah, but you know, that's how I carry myself. I've always been a person that you don't really have to promote me or talk highly about me. That when we get done playing, that there's going to be a lot of respect given out. And I don't mind that. You know, I think it almost works to my advantage, because a lot of guys are taking wrong angles to tackle me, and my line knows how fast I am. So it's kind of like they're blocking and they'll see plays and they'll be like, we couldn't believe he ran up under that, you know, and it works for the best for our team.
So what do you think makes you such an exceptional runner?
You know what? I play with a lot of patience. You know, I believe in just using everything that I got to help our team get better, and I believe in using all our team's talents. So I think as I just study my own team and I study my own self so well, to the point that everything just looks like it's just natural, like we're just flowing.
I ask this respectfully because the numbers speak for themselves, but when people question your toughness, and you've never missed a game because of an injury, but when people say, well, he's good, but is he tough enough? What's your response?
You know, I really don't. You know,
You're
think
obviously
like
tough.
I just say, well, it's football, and you know, you want to be tough. You know, try to carry the ball on 3rd and 1 or on the goal line. You know, you'll figure out how tough you are really quick. And you know, but at that, you know, I don't mind people's opinions. I think it always kind of makes it exciting. You know,
is it part of? Does it work for you? Is it part of motivation for you?
Nah, it's nothing. Yeah, to me, I think it's part of that mystique I like to have.
Okay.
Am I fast? I'm kind of slow. You know, I like telling people I'm not that fast, and he's kind of weak. I'm not that tough either. You know, you hit me, and guys come running to hit you, and then you sidestep or you break a tackle, and they're confused the rest of the game. And they start questioning whether they got it or not.
Meanwhile, the records keep piling up. You are a little bit of you're a man of faith. You're deeply religious,
yes.
And yet some think that you're almost arrogant because of your quiet confidence. Doesn't that seem like an
yeah.
awkward collision?
I love Jesus Christ with all my heart, and part of being that is I don't have to have confidence in myself. You know what I mean? I just have confidence in knowing that whatever the plan that Jesus Christ made for me is good enough, and I'm satisfied with that. And I think that what happens is sometimes people will look at me and they'll feel like, he's just confident, or he's just arrogant about that, and really it's just because I'm just content. You know what I mean? And sometimes people don't like people that are content.
Yeah,
why is he smiling all the time?
That's right, you hear that, and content maybe that you're not aggressive enough, or the hunger isn't there.
Yeah,
but obviously you still have strong desires and goals.
Yeah, I don't know how you can you break records and go after achievements if you're not passionate and hungry for stuff. So I go after it, but at the same time, I know where the power comes.
So what does motivate Shaun Alexander?
What motivates me? Once I learn something through the Bible or just spiritually that I should be doing, then that motivates me. Seeing my family or my wife and kids, smile, that motivates me. Getting a group of people. That's why I love football. Football is the ultimate team sport. You get 10 guys together to get one guy in the end zone. It's something about it. You get 11 guys all focused to tackling one guy. It's the great, team sport, because if one or two guys are off, it doesn't work. And what motivates me with football is to get everybody together to be on one page to make history.
Is this Seahawk team this year, is this the most together? I mean, let's forget the record for a moment, because we know winning it's a little bit easier. But why do you think it's closer together?
We all believe in the same thing. It's the first time from top to bottom where everybody's like, we don't care about anything else but winning and having fun doing it, And I think that's been the big key. Like before, some guys wanted to win, but some guys wanted to show off on this way. And some guys wanted to win, but they wanted to have fun, even if it costed sacrificing or winning. Some guys wanted to study the game, and some guys, they really didn't. Like there was things that were, with football, there's sacrifices. You got to sacrifice some things for the team to come together. And not everybody was always willing to sacrifice.
All right, we'll continue with Shaun Alexander, his relationship with head coach Mike Holmgren, the future goals, and the Icky Shuffle. That was at the beginning of his Endzone celebration. We'll be back in a moment.
Also coming up.
You didn't know you were poor until you went to college.
People were going to movies, and I was like, you just go to movies when you feel like it? I thought this was like an every other weekend thing.
Plus,
how important is the money to you in your next contract?
Find out next on CMI, the Chris Myers Interview. You're watching CMI, the Chris Myers Interview.
3rd and goal, split back. Shaun gets it going left. He gets outside. Touchdown Seahawks. And hand number 37 the record. Shaun Alexander with 28 touchdowns this season. He's not done yet, but his name goes into the NFL record books. Congratulations, Shaun.
And we're continuing with Shaun Alexander, that record-setting touchdown run. You knew it was going to happen at some point. How did that weigh on your mind? And did you know that was the one the minute you got the ball?
Yeah, that's Steve Hutchinson's favorite player. And, he's a great offensive lineman. And that he's like, when in doubt, 17G lead, And when they called it, I was like, we got a shot at this thing. And I ran through, and it was just one of those things like, I want to thank you, Lord. We're accomplishing more goals. It was good.
You're used to the end zone in high school, right, in Kentucky. It was Boone, right?
Yeah, Boone County.
All right, you had 54 touchdowns. We mentioned your senior year, 110. You set a national record at the time.
Yeah.
So obviously you felt comfortable getting into the end zone, whether you were gliding or whatever you were doing.
Yeah, you know what? High school was awesome. Of course, everybody's like, oh, who you? Icky Woods, of course,
So you watched him?
I watched the Bengals in 88. Everybody always asks me, Super Bowl, what do you remember? Yeah, I was like, I remember just 5th grade crying my eyes out when Taylor caught that ball in the back of the end zone.
49.
Oh, I was just disgusted.
But did the Yankees shuffle? Were you and your brother, did you do that in the?
I mean, everybody did. And I remember saying to myself, if I ever go to the NFL, I'm not going to be one of those dancer guys.
Meanwhile.
Yeah, and now we're here. And, and that all started with really some of the guys saw me on the Best Day on Sports show, period, clowning around with them. And they said, hey, Shaun, what are you going to do next week? So all of a sudden, guys on the team started asking. And when they started asking me, I started thinking, oh, this is kind of like exciting for them. So that's kind of what got me in all the dances this year.
Well, you've done rattle off some of your favorites. The baby, burp of the baby.
I love the burp the baby.
Okay.
I love the home run swing. I think I shot dice one time.
Okay.
Karate.
Right.
The fishing reel was awesome because that was such a big, and that was our big time when we beat the Rams and we knew we were going to clinch the West. And they were just all key, but they were like, to me, like they were ways to get our linemen all excited about what we were going to do next week. Hey, we got to get Shaun in the end zone. This is what's going to happen, So
in the Super Bowl, you got something planned special for that?
I don't know. Like we all just been talking about what would be cool, but I haven't really got anything planned.
If I'm a defensive player and I hear you planning a touchdown celebration, that would bother me. You ever have any of those guys kind of take a shot and?
No, yeah, definitely. But it also works the other hand if we do score. You know what I mean? If we score,
right.
It's a lot on a defensive player's mind because they're like, this guy's dancing the end zone on us, and then they start thinking, I got to step up. And then if it goes a little bit worse, it could snowball backwards for them. So that's kind of what I like playing in their minds.
Part of the reward, obviously, of coming up through the ranks, and I thought it was funny when you talked about you didn't know you were poor until you went to college in Alabama.
Yeah.
Growing up, right? Your mom raising you and your brother. And what was it that signaled, hey, I'm behind on the finances here or whatever?
I believe it was everybody was driving cars and people were going to movies, and I was like, you just go to movies when you feel like it. I thought this was like an every other weekend thing, So of course and then I had family members that was even poorer than we were, So to me, I just thought, oh well, we're the family that has the money, so we would help other people. And when I started meeting other people that were, on teammates that came from wealthier families, I was like, oh, wait a minute, you have like your own pool. I was like, oh, I thought that was like in movies or something, it just wasn't as strong as a reality.
Well, and now you went back and you actually bought the YMCA where you really couldn't afford to be in, right? You and your brother.
We couldn't really go into the YMCA because, of course, it costs a little bit of money. So I've always had a dream to be able to help build a kind of a quote-unquote YMCA type building for kids that couldn't afford as much. So of course, you got to pay a little bit to show accountability, but it ain't going to be as expensive as it would be for them. Not that YMCAs are bad; they do great. They do great for the community and everything. But for just our situation, it wasn't good enough for us.
Well, how important is the money to you in your next contract?
It just is what it is. It's not like, oh, I need X, Y, Z, or I'm just going to be upset. But at the same time, I believe things are just fair. I have a hard time saying, yeah, you know what? If you hired a person to come do your yard, and you knew that, $10 an hour to do your yard would be just the most fairest deal, and you gave him $1.50, you'd be like, gosh, I'm slighting this guy. Or if you was on the other hand, if you was the one mowing the lawn, if you get $10 from everybody else and they want to pay you $1.50, So for me, like it just needs.
So it's about what's fair, because before the year there was the talk that you had the season you would take a little less money than LaDainian Tomlinson, who was the highest paid back at the time in the league, a good measuring stick. Now with the year you've had, since you'll be a free agent in March if a deal isn't done. I don't think you'll settle for that, will you?
Well, fair back then was not necessarily fair right now.
The smile is bigger. So things worked out in terms of you were willing to roll the dice with this year when they put the franchise tag that they said they wouldn't use again, and play through it.
Yeah, well, and I think it was something that we both agreed upon, and they were like, Shaun, we want you to be here, and I'm like, well, we got that in common, we love Seattle. Seattle loves me. But they're like, but we're not really sure about the books. And you remember our front office was just kind of in shambles, you know, people are leaving, you know. But when Tim got here,
Tim Ruskell.
Yeah, Tim Ruskell, he's just a very honest man of integrity, you know what I mean? And he just looks you in the eye, and I said, oh, I like the relationships like that, you know what I mean? I said, hey, I never have a problem looking a person in the eye and back and forth and apologizing if I'm wrong and telling you how I feel, and that's how we've always been, and it's been just great.
Now, your first priority would be to stay in Seattle. Would you be disappointed if it doesn't happen?
Yeah, definitely, because I've seen what we've built in the 6 years of me being here, you know, playing backup behind Ricky Waters, you know, him going down my second year, getting to play and putting up all them yards with half a season, and then third year starting and having the Vikings game and the Raiders game, and then us starting to get into the playoffs and then winning the division, and now here we are, you know. It would be great to, you know, play your whole career and win 3 out of 4 Super Bowl like the pay. You know what I mean? Like, it would be just a great thing to do. You know?
He's already talking Dynasty. When we continue with Shaun, we'll ask him about the age, the dreaded age barrier of running backs, as he'll be 29 years old this offseason. We'll be back with Shaun here on CMI in a moment.
Also coming up.
You seem to be comfortable that if you're somewhere else, you're somewhere else. If it does, what's your gut tell you about what the...
Honestly, I think that I would be shocked if I wasn't here next year.
Plus,
you've accomplished a lot already. What are your next goals?
I have higher goals of scoring touchdowns in the season, and I still have not reached 2,000. You know, I think that's every running back's goal.
coming up next on the Chris Myers interview with Shaun Alexander.
I wanted you to talk about your relationship with Mike Holmgren. Has it changed?
Now I kind of went from that, you know, work relationship to, okay, well, we're kind of family to, oh, no, we're family, so we're going to go fight for this guy to win his, you know, next Super Bowl ring.
Also on the way.
Is the length of your new deal, whether it's in Seattle or elsewhere, important to you? Does it have to be more than 3 years?
Well, you know.
Find out next on CMI, the Chris Myers interview. You're watching the Chris Myers interview with Shaun Alexander.
Welcome, my name is Gunther. You see this Jeep right here? Yeah. It is crunk. You know what I mean? Y'all gotta get that thing. You know what that means, don't you? Mm-hmm. Off the heezy. Yeah, for sheezy. These rims, they bring the girls with the funk in their trunk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You like them girls with the funk in the trunk, don't you?
Yeah.
If you buy 3 cars, we'll give you a 4th one for free.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well.
Just buy 3, the 4th one I'm just gonna throw in.
Some scenes from Shaun Alexander live. For a mild-mannered guy, that's when you did a little show up here in the Pacific Northwest, and people didn't recognize you when you went out amongst the crowd, right? Even though they were fans of the Seahawks and Shaun Alexander.
Oh yeah, huge fan. They would. That was my 3rd and 4th season here, you know, and it was my first really 2 years as a starter for the whole way, and yeah, they would tell me how much they loved the Seahawks and loved our team, and you know, and I'd already had a couple 1,000-yard, 15 touchdown seasons, and they were just, I'm diehard Seahawks. I'm like, really? Who's your favorite player? And one person even said, oh, Shaun Alexander. I was like, really? I like that guy too.
Well, and it was fun. Matt Hasselbeck said if it wasn't for fantasy football, people probably wouldn't have recognized who Shaun Alexander was. Matt got the big contract, you know, prior to this last season.
Yeah.
Just to button up your contract situation, some question about the age, a long-term deal for a running back who's going to be 29 in the off season.
Yeah.
And is the length of your new deal, whether it's in Seattle or elsewhere, important to you? Does it have to be more than 3 years?
Well, you know, just contract world, you know, really everybody looks at 3 or 4 years. So even if it's like 7 or 8 year deal, it's really 3 or 4 that everybody looks at. So, you know, to me, it doesn't really matter. You know, like money just takes care of itself. You know?
You seem to be comfortable that if you're somewhere else, you're somewhere else. If it does, what's your gut tell you about what
Honestly, yeah. I think that I would be shocked if I wasn't here next year.
Okay.
But at the same time, you know, it's business. So I can't be in denial that if the Seahawks didn't, that it couldn't happen. It could. but I just don't think it will.
And I wanted you to talk about your relationship with Mike Holmgren. True that you get a little parking spot, his other parking spot at the facility?
You know, it's so funny because if you just hear stories about me and Mike, I can understand when people be like, man, them two always kind of.
Yeah.
We have always been very close. From day one when I got here, he was like, if there's anything that you ever want to talk about, you come to me. You know, our wives come and talk to each other. We're just close.
But Mike and you have a good relationship. Has it changed? Has it gone from like a father-son to now a co-worker, boss kind of thing? Is that how you describe it?
From the first time I got here, I think it was, I'm the coach, and Shaun, you're just my talented athlete. And then after about 3 years, it kind of turned into, you know what, I'm the coach, and you're my good friend, and I want to take over this game. You know what I mean? And now this year it's kind of like, Shaun, you know what, I love you, you know, like a son, because he doesn't have any, you know what I mean? So we're all quote unquote his sons, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So kind of like, Shaun, I love you like a son. I need you to come through for me, you know what I mean? So now I kind of went from that, you know, work relationship to, okay, we're kind of family to, oh, no, we're family, so we're going to go fight for this guy to win his, you know, next Super Bowl ring.
What's his greatest trait as a coach, do you think? Is the one that you like the most?
I think is that X's and O's, he's better than everybody in the business, you know? So I just think, like, if you just sat down and talked to him and said, hey, I was thinking if we did this, it would work. And you get on the field, you know, there's a difference when you're on the field and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is the guy's moving here and this is here.
Right.
This is a touchdown. Run or pass. Like, people don't know how good his running mind is. You know, they just hear it. They want to talk about all his passes with Joe and Steve and Brett, you know, and now Matt. They don't know, man. We got some running plays that, you know, we just out X and O people, you know, and it's good.
Finally, I know you've told me before you set goals that are really high, and sometimes you keep them to yourself, because they sound so ridiculous or off the charts, but you've accomplished a lot already. What are your next goals? Have you thought, because when you hit one, you probably want to move on to the next one.
Yeah, I got higher goals.
Share with us?
I have higher goals to scoring touchdowns in the season.
Okay.
And I still have not reached 2,000. You know, I think that's every running back's goal. You know, so those would be goals that I could share. I still myself always want to get better as a receiver, as a blocker, as a runner, as a teammate, you know, as a friend, as a captain. So I still got to go to work for those things, you know, and those are it, you know, them 5 personal and them 2 that I can tell you statistically, you know.
Okay, well, keep smiling and keep up the good work, and we always appreciate your time.
Thank you, my brother.
Good luck to you. Shaun Alexander, the NFL's MVP. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time here on CMI.
Tune in next week when Chris sits down with Troy Aikman. The Cowboys great reflects on his Hall of Fame career and explains how a bad break in college turned out to be a blessing in disguise that helped him get to the pros. Get the full story on the next episode of CMI, the Chris Myers Interview.